I hear complaints all the time from college students of companies that won't hire them because they don't have experience. Well, how are you supposed to get experience if you never get your first job? So they move. Nobody wants to give them a shot at it. And I can relate to that. I mean, I'm 30 now, and quite honestly, the generation above us still, I don't feel like listens to us most of the time.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers, fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
What about the 20-something that, we hear about people come back for family. People come back for the low cost of living. But but a lot of times that means you already have a partner. You're married. You have some sort of, family. But what about the single person who in their 20s? How do they get connected to the community? And are they coming back for the low cost of living when in fact there's a housing crisis?
I think you're absolutely, I think you're absolutely correct, because again, when traveling around the country, I hear that all the time, that, oh, it's the low cost of living. Well, with the low cost of living, your job takes that into account when they go to come up with your salary. Mm-hmm. So your salary is going to be significantly less than when you're at a big town and the cost of living's not significantly much higher, but you're going to get a higher wage. I don't really have a long answer, but like those types of things frustrate me as a young leader, because again, you asked the last question too, like how do we change the mindset in this community? I think that question's rather large, because there's so many different things that are happening. People are in a poverty mindset. They're in survival mode. COVID just made it worse, putting people in survival mode. So to gather people together, when we get into smaller rooms like this, we can all get together and come up with a solution. But to take that and market it and make everybody join hands and come together, they already have a poverty mindset. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. They're already in survival mode. So what does that turn into? Maybe it's not on purpose, but everyone becomes selfish. They're after marketing for their own business to grab what money's left, as that's how their mind runs on, well, my business isn't doing well, neither is theirs, but I need to stay alive. Mm-hmm. And it's not like that outside of Youngstown. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative against the town, but it's not like that outside of here in the bigger community. So when you're talking about people staying or leaving, why does somebody want to come into a place where they're going to make less money, but their house will be cheaper, which it's still expensive. It's still very expensive to live here. Maybe not the groceries and stuff, but the housing market is very expensive. And so why would somebody want to move back here and add even more complexity into their life with the mindsets and the survival mode and all of that kind of stuff that this area brings? I've lived here my whole life, but I do get to experience other towns and cities, and it's not as free to do what you need to do and to grow. And job advancement wise, at least in the corporate world, if you want to work in an industry part of the job sector, yeah, there's tons of jobs here. But for those that are in the corporate world, there's not much advancement here. I hear complaints all the time from college students of companies that won't hire them because they don't have experience. Well, how are you supposed to get experience if you never get your first job? So they move. Nobody wants to give them a shot at it. And I can relate to that. I mean, I'm 30 now, and quite honestly, the generation above us still, I don't feel like listens to us most of the time. That's just my personal opinion, but sometimes I find myself guilty of thinking that way about the younger 20-year-olds, and I have to snap myself, because it can very well become a normal.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers, fiercely local, fiercely loyal.